There has been speculation online that Kendall Jenner may be hiding something about her sexuality. And over the years, the internet has only become more obsessed with the rumors. From TikToks to Reddit theories to old interviews being reanalyzed. One person on Reddit wrote, "It's bizarre how people treat a person's sexuality like it's some deep state conspiracy that needs to be exposed." They also pointed out that even when celebrities deny the rumors or express discomfort, like Shawn Mendes has in the past, people just don't respect that. Instead, they use that denial as even more proof that they're right. Another person commented that Kendall Jenner and Taylor Swift both get these rumors partly because they dated Harry Styles. Other person replied, "I remember when the Kendall is gay rumors popped up. It is right when she began dating Harry. I am just surprised they took hold and have continued." In a 2018 Vogue interview, Kendall herself said the rumors started because no one ever saw me with a guy. She also said she keeps relationships private and likes being low-key. She continued saying, "I don't think I have a bisexual or gay bone in my body, but I don't know. Who knows? I'm all down for experience. Not against it whatsoever, but I've never been there before." She has a tough energy, she says, "but I'm not gay. I have literally nothing to hide." I would never hide something like that. Recently, Kendall Jenner finally addressed the sexuality rumors that have followed her online for years during an appearance on Owen Thiel's podcast In My Dreams. And according to Kendall, what bothered her most wasn't just the speculation itself, but how cruel people online had become about it. Kendall explained that there's an entire side of the internet convinced she's secretly lesbian, but she said the comments never came from a place of support or understanding. Instead, she described the online reactions as aggressive, judgmental, and unnecessarily mean. Kendall also pushed back against the rumors directly, saying that if she actually was gay, she believes she would already be open about it publicly. At the same time, she acknowledged that coming out is deeply personal and not easy for many people. But according to Kendall, knowing herself and the way she chooses to live her life, she says she wouldn't feel the need to hide it. Let's take a look.
A lot of people think you're a secret lesbian.
I know, and can you tell me why you think that?
I actually don't know. It's really hardcore.
And like people
It's kind of great.
But but you want to know what really bothers me is how mean people are about it.
Yeah.
Like it's not with like a welcoming arm.
Totally.
Like, hey, like if you were, like, yes, come join.
Yes,
like,
totally.
It's not kind. It's
Totally.
like very mean.
Totally.
It's very like, what the are you doing? Like, I understand that like coming out is not an easy thing for anybody, if not at most people.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying that that's an easy thing, but knowing, I can speak for myself here, and knowing myself, like, I think at this point in my life, I'd be out if I was.
Totally, if you were, yes.
You guys know Rob Kardashian has struggled with fame, the loss of his father, and of course, his look, his appearance, because a lot of people trolled him on the internet. This theory suggests that Rob, who has struggled with his weight gain and depression over the years, is somehow kept around as a fat donor for his sister's alleged Brazilian butt lift procedures. This person wrote on X, "I have a theory that the Kardashians keep Rob Kardashian chubby so they could harvest his fat for BBLs." There's a lot of people convinced that this is a true theory. This person writes, "Help. Why is this completely realistic to me? OMG." This person writes, "As someone who rewatched the Kardashians, I feel like they weren't really concerned about Rob's mental health during the weight gain, and just threw the fat-phobic rhetoric his way, calling him lazy, etc. So really, the concern for him was only different than the concern for Khloe because he was no longer the ideal body that they liked to portray. It all worked out in the end though, because now they have someone to farm fat for their BBLs. Wait, farm fat? That is insane. Now you guys know Rob likes to keep himself hidden away. Maybe that's by design. Maybe the families kept him locked up in like a freaking barn like cattle, just milking him of his fat when needed. But realistically, in standard fat transfer or BBL procedures, surgeons almost always use the patient's own fat, not fat from another person. But I do feel like Rob Kardashian has been locked away because remember when he overdosed? And there was this entire situation where he supposedly had an overdose. He was really struggling. And since then, he's kept himself in particular out of the public eye because there's been some consequences of that overdose. On December the 27th, at 3:17 a.m., Rob arrived unconscious to the hospital with pale face and blue lips. He overdosed with alcohol and OxyContin painkiller. Fentanyl was also found in his blood. He stayed under surveillance and doing exams all night long. When he woke up, he allegedly cried and screamed, "Black China ruined my life. I can't enjoy time with my kid without snakes and crows monitoring my attitude and behavior. I miss my kid. I want to die. The fame is not for me. I'll go to rehab without even kissing or hugging my child. She's my kid." Some relatives, family, are very worried and hesitate to send him directly to treatment after he leaves the emergency room. The reasons for his act are still rather vague. As soon as I have the reason and more details of whether he intends to go to rehab, I'll keep you posted. Akababe said. Kris Jenner has allegedly called the hospital and directed that no information is leaked to the press. According to Aquababe, a lot of paparazzi is aware of the information and are waiting validation to know if they can leak it. None of the big press headliners picked it up. Rob Kardashian is doing okay. He asked for the 3 security agents who were in his room to call Kris Jenner. He wanted to talk to her directly and not through the phone. 47 minutes later, Kris and Khloe arrived to the hospital. Rob told them he did not want to go to rehab. He just wants to see his child and did not want the press to know he overdosed. Khloe agreed with him about not going to rehab. Kris was not so sure. Rob Kardashian left the on Friday 30th or Saturday 31st hospital at 2:30 p.m. Seems like Rob Kardashian has gone through a lot. Moving on to when Kim Kardashian had her 72-day wedding to Kris Humphries, the world was convinced that this was all for show. In 2011, they got married, but they divorced just 72 days later, and a lot of people questioned whether their relationship was ever genuine. The wedding itself was a production. They made so much money from this wedding special. They had to go and have the special on TV because it was going to break the ratings and give them a lot more money. Now, it looks like they were paid $1.5 million by People magazine for their wedding photos, as well as $300,000 for their engagement announcement, another $100,000 from OK for bridal shower coverage, and between $30,000 and $100,000 from US Weekly for photos of their trip to Italy for their honeymoon. So they made a big bag just from selling images. The payouts did not stop there, where the couple turned what most view as a sacred day into a marketing media blitz. Kim's ring, which would have cost $3 million, was a fraction of the price because they got to go and get that airtime. The pair also got deals on their engraved invites, Kardashian's hair, makeup, and grooming, and the cake, which was made by the same LA-based company that created her sister Khloe Kardashian's cake. So everyone pitched in to go and throw this wedding. I don't think that Kim or Kris had to pay for anything. When Kim had announced that she was filing for divorce, it hit the news Monday morning. Most weekly magazines close out their issues Monday evening. So, the timing may not have been a coincidence because it looks like Kris Jenner wanted to make sure those headlines were out there. So, back in the day when those magazines meant more, they all were slapped with Kim getting a divorce because that was the major news. So, could you imagine working in the magazine offices that Monday, and then you hear the news and you're like, wait, scrap the cover. We have to restart. When appearing on the Elvis Duran morning show, it looks like this guy named Jackson alleged that Kim's wedding was a sham. He claimed she knew weeks before getting married that she didn't want to do it and that she'd never gotten over her ex-boyfriend Reggie Bush. I don't believe that, but in an appearance on Good Day LA, Jackson also said that it was obvious this was staged. And I do believe that Kim did not want to get married to Kris and knew that beforehand. But her mother, Kris Jenner, made sure that all these contracts were fulfilled, and she had to do it. Which must be crazy for Kris Humphries to go and get married and believe this is a real relationship, while at the same time Kim is planning with her mother how she's going to get out of this marriage after the wedding. I wonder if Kris was super confused hanging out with Kim after the wedding because he could tell that there was something off. This guy named Jackson, whoever this man is, it looks like he was later silenced by Kim. They hired Marty Singer, a lawyer, to go and put a muzzle on him. She also sued him for $200,000, so he was not going to be let go easy. Justice for Jackson because even Kris Humphries' relatives have confirmed that this wedding was a sham. His aunt Dorita said it was a sham. My understanding of marriage is that people are going to give him more than 72 days unless there's serious abuse. They could have done an annulment where you completely erase the wedding from your record. Dorita said, An annulment says that it wasn't valid in the first place. She should admit that it was a sham at the very least. And it looks like Dorita was one of the 36 Humphries relatives who went to California for the wedding. Only 36, which is surprising because there were over 400 people at the wedding. So, he is suing me for an annulment based on the fact that I frauded him into marrying him for publicity. Oh, so he's claiming that he was the victim of fraud.
Yes.
Well, that's the only way to get an annulment if one person was frauded. Kim has maintained that her marriage to Kris was not staged. She said, "I'm such a hopeless romantic. I wanted to believe in something so badly." But if you really think about it, if this was a business decision and she really made all that money and everyone was claiming they made money off the wedding, then if the wedding was fake and it was just for TV, she would have stayed married longer. Kim said, "I really didn't think following my heart would create this much backlash. I feel like the wedding was a business move. And if it wasn't, you should just go ahead and say it was Kim because it makes you seem even more intelligent in that moment instead of throwing together a wedding for a man that you weren't really sure about."
He is suing me for an annulment based on the fact that I frauded him into marrying him for publicity.
Oh, so he's claiming that he was the victim of fraud.
Yes, well, that's the only way to get an annulment is one person was frauded. So that was the case, and I would
The
love.
fraud was not a factor here. Is that right? It was just
Not
you
in my
were
case,
deeply in
no.
love. You and Kris Humphries met. You were deeply in love.
But I think if she was going to do it for publicity, she'd pick someone that people knew.
One person online wrote that this was the peak era of Kim Kardashian's visuals and public image. But they also said that while most people believe the marriage was purely for attention, they personally think Kim may have felt pressure to settle down at that point in her life. So she met the guy and thought he would do LOL. And honestly, this barely scratches the surface when it comes to Kardashian controversies. From relationship scandals to internet conspiracies to the darker side of fame and Hollywood culture, the deeper you go into celebrity drama, the crazier it gets. So, let me know your thoughts on these Kardashian controversies down in the comments below. And hit subscribe and stay tuned, because trust me, there's a lot more to uncover.